BTS has officially announced the title for their new album, and it's called Arirang. Since I'm not Korean, I don't fully know the meaning of Arirang. Let me take you through my research process and see if we can get an understanding of how it relates to this new era or chapter. I like this research paper because it goes through the history of Arirang and how it has been adapted in modern times. The first notation that I made is, though most scholars detect its roots in folk ballad and work songs dating from the mid to the late Joseon period, or even as far back as the unified Shilla period, others portray it as a quintessentially modern song addressing specific travails that Koreans have experienced in the last 2 centuries. The thoughts that I got from here is that this song has a malleability to itself. It is open to interpretation even when it started, how it started, and the purpose of it. There are in fact many Arirangs. We should not assume that all Arirangs have been duly recorded. Some estimate there are around 50 known melodies and more than 2,000 different lyrics. It reminds me of told history, when history is not recorded through writing, but through poetry like epics. I'm more aware of Western things because I studied Western philosophy. When you study the history of the Iliad and the Odyssey, it is debated as to who really is the author of the epic because there's no actual record of who Homer is. Many scholars say that the Iliad and the Odyssey are actually spoken poems that had been transmitted through generations of Greek people at the time. At some point, someone wrote it down, and that someone could have been Homer or it could have been another person. How is that related? I feel like that's Arirang. There has been many different poems or songs that have been sung in different ways with different melodies and different lyrics. It seems better to think of Arirang less as a song than a skeletal framework for musical and poetic articulation. To qualify as an Arirang, a composition requires little more than the refrain, Arirang, Arirang, Arario, and maybe a nod to the most familiar contours of the melody. But neither the refrain itself nor its placements within the lyric are uniform from version to version. This author is posing that Arirang is less of just the song Arirang in some sort of trademarkable way, and it's more as a framework. I think of this as genres. Arirang is a type of genre that comes in musical and poetic articulation for folk singing in Korea. For example, literary genres. A horror novel has to have certain qualifications to qualify as a horror novel. Here, the author is making the case that to be an arirang, the composition only require a few elements. These elements are the skeletal framework. First, you have to have a refrain that is the arirang, arirang, arario. Then you have to have a nod to the most familiar contours of the melody. Listen how he writes it. Most familiar contours of the melody, meaning that the melody itself can be changed. It's not like you say, I want to play Tchaikovsky. Rather, you're just nodding to the type of melody, but you can play around with that melody. This malleability that is not connected to a trademarkable name, it lets you know how it could have been seen as a emblem of national identity, both Korean states, that lets me understand that it's seen that way because it's not tied to a specific name or a specific author. Let's go back. To qualify as an arirang, first you have to have the refrain, arirang, arirang, arario, then the contours of the melody. The author says neither the refrain itself nor its placements within the lyric are uniform from version to version. You can play around with the lyric and the melody and make it your own. Lyrics and melodic embellishments could be freely improvised in a call and response structure, which in itself is arguably the one element that is common in all arirang songs. So if we go back to the announcement of the album shares the honest stories BTS has long wanted to tell ARMY who have been waiting for the full group comeback. That just makes me feel part of the call and response of the song is them calling to us, ARMY, and us responding to them. Let me know if this is like what you're getting. Some scholars are convinced that Arirang originated as a work song in which an appointed laborer could take the musical lead, repeating the refrain, and fellow workers would respond individually or collectively with additional lyrics. One hypothesis suggests that Arirang began to circulate in a recognizable form among rural laborers of northern Gyeonggi-do province, who have been snatched away from their fields by the government to rebuild the Gyeongbok royal palace in Seoul in 1862. Arirangs have articulated sorrow of lovers parting, the injustices of life for common people, the nostalgia for one's hometown, the disorientation experienced during periods of dramatic change, or the resolve to persevere and conquer oppression. This is the part that most resonated with me because BTS, in their announcement, they said that this album is full of stories that they have wanted to tell us. And if we understand what they had been going through in the past few years, having to go to the military, not be able to speak for themselves because they're military people with a status that is well recognized. So everything they do is scrutinized even more. Military essentially robs you of your identity and your own freedom. They are recognizable figures, so they're even more looked at in a panopticon kind of way. But also, there are like shareholders in one of the major media entertainment companies in Korea. So even if they're not trying to do anything and they say something, they really cannot. Because if they sense something, even if it's just a personal thought, it can make tangible change in the stock market and a lot of things. Imagine having to live like a pressure cooker, building up all of your feelings and emotions without having a valve release or a way to let the pressure come down. They went through a very difficult time, not only because they were separated, but because the condition in which they were separated worsened because of their status, because of things outside of their own free will. Arirangs, being this type of emotive and poetic and musical vehicle where you can express the sorrow of lovers parting, meaning they went to the military, the injustices of life for common people, for example, being criticized for things that are outside of the control, like how they were criticized for not supposedly supporting certain, you know what I'm trying to say, as if they were the culprits of massacres. Like everything here, they would have experienced having to have gone to the military. Before I move forward, I want to recapitulate. Arirangs for these authors more like a skeletal framework, which needs to have the refrain Arirang, Arirang, Arirayo, needs to have a nod to the melody, and it needs to have a call and response structure. Within that framework, think of the skeleton as the body of a car. The body of a car is able to deliver a certain kind of message. And these kinds of message are sad tones, sorrow for lovers, injustices, nostalgia for the hometown, disorientation, dramatic change, how to persevere in the face of oppression. It also has this underpinning of political sorrowness for the own separation of Koreas and the way that Korea has been treated in the world stage, almost like a national anthem to both Koreas. What does it mean for Korean people to have this as some sort of national treasure? I think it really exemplifies how hard the history has been. Afterwards, this author starts going through the different times the Arirang has been recorded. He mentions that the first foreign report for Arirang was published by an American missionary, Homer B. Hulbert. Homer B. Hulbert wrote down, this is a citation from him, to the average Korean, this one song holds the same place in music that rice does in its food. All else is mere appendage. That is a poetic description. How this type of music is almost like the sustenance for Korean people. Oh, I'm getting a call. Hola, pa. Because of these flexible structural characteristics, Arirang easily accommodates changes in mood or sensibility, historical context, and social conditions. I am excited to see how BTS is accommodating those moods and sensibilities, this Arirang, in their new historical context and social conditions, because they are like particularly, and this is something that RM has been exploring, this convergence between the East and the West has been happening for Korea for a while, but I think they were thrusted into a new wave of this barrier breaking. I think that changed them or affected them. I want to know how they're going to express this through that. The next part, the author is trying to explain how this song was actually a protest and a call to action song for revolutionaries in Korea. He's quoting Kim San. In Korea, we have a folk song, a beautiful ancient song, which was created out of the living heart of a suffering people. It is sad, as a deeply felt beauty is sad. It is tragic, as Korea has for a long been tragic, because it is beautiful and tragic, and it has been the favorite song of all Koreans for 300 years. That's amazing. quoting Kim Shi-op. Arirang was no mere ode to the lost love, but rather an underground broadcast beloved by our people, suffused with anti-Japanese critical spirits. If we regard Arirang as an ordinary popular song for amusement expressing love and partying, we are apt to overlook its national and people-based nature. Noting that the song emerged at a time of increasingly shared sense of crisis vis-a-vis the impeachment of outside forces. Kim Young-gap, executive director of the Arirang Association, Koreans sang the Arirang song when they rose up in 1919 to protest Japan's military rule in what became known as the March 1st movement. Korean revolutionary Kim Sang explicitly linked the Arirangs that he sang while fighting the Japanese to an ancient pre-colonial heritage of artistic resistance to injustice and oppression. And I was very intrigued by this description of an ancient pre-colonial heritage of artistic resistance to injustice and oppression, because one of my favorite movies of last year was Sinners. And the director of the movie specifically wrote that song trying to bring back the roots of Black American music and how, through the metaphor of this vampirism of the Irish vampire, like the white man, meaning like Hollywood, tried to suck out this heritage of artistic resistance. If we look at it in the world context, in which BTS were looked at by many in the West like these exotic people that will not actually take over the culture, and obviously that was like horrible and racist, to actually emphasize Korean Arirangs, a type of musical and poetic expression that has been explicitly linked to its artistic resistance heritage in a pre-colonial period and how it is used against injustice and oppression, I thought it was quite poignant in today's world. The song of Arirang has come to symbolize the tragedy of Korea. Its meaning is symbolic of constantly climbing over obstacles only to find death at the end. It's a song of death and not of life. But a death is not defeat. Out of many deaths, victory may burn. This reminded me of something I had mentioned before, which is I feel the chapter 2, the members of BTS, have been going through a Sisyphean era. The myth of Sisyphus is that Sisyphus has to put a big rock on his back and climb off a mountain. And when he's just about to get to the top of the mountain, the rock falls back. So he has to go down again and pick up the rock and go up again. The absurdist philosopher Albert Camus tried to find the meaning in that going down and getting up, right? But this revolutionary says this song symbolizes how you have to constantly climb over obstacles only to, at the end, find death. It's a song of death and not of life. Death is not defeat. Out of many deaths, victory may be born. I thought that was beautiful. The mythic status of the Arirang is its antiquity, its Koreanness, its defiant spirit. It is, of course, not uncommon for Koreans to describe themselves as being peculiarly sad people, evoking Han as a national characteristic. But they do not hesitate to assign responsibility for the collective misery to Japan and to other outside powers that interfered in their affairs over the course of centuries. The Arirang Hills became the hills of yearning for national liberation. Beloved anthems such as the Beatles' Revolution 9 or Gil Scott-Heron's The Revolution Would Not Be Televised lost their power when they appeared in Nike commercials. Arirang resisted such a fate because of its inherent mutability. No matter what pop songsmiths did to it, no one could own a song whose very essence was change. If we think of chapter 3 as a different chapter from 2 and 1 in the life of BTS, and how they're trying to express all of these feelings that they felt when they could not communicate to us, but also how they want to define themselves through a song whose essence is change, but also has these undercurrents of resistance and love and sorrow that infuses all of this other Korean identity, like in the Han and sorrowness. I think we can start to imagine what it is going to be about. Arirang has become one of the most potent folkloric signifiers of a heroic defiance deemed peculiarly Korean. For Koreans, Arirang dramatized the colonial victimhood, expressed the delirium that accompanied rapid modernization, and in some incarnations even inspired defiant action against Japanese imperialism. For Koreans, Arirang alleviated the misery of lost sovereignty. Wow. I'm going to link ResearchGate paper so that you can download it yourself and you can read it in full because I skipped a lot of history. Do you remember when they left? They left us this vault image. They are in front of it, almost like human shields. And I understand that Jungkook came up with the idea of the symbols, and it is part of the Hangul alphabet that represents Arirang. But doesn't it also look like shields? Especially when they're white and the background is red. Red to me, it signifies battle, war, resistance, anger. Red is a very dissonant color. In your face, it's aggressive, bloodied, gory, and then you have these white symbols. They almost look like shields. And now that we understand what Erirang means, how it's a way of poetically and musically resisting and expressing sorrows and finding your own victory, even if you died. Like, it's a song of the death, not of life, but even in death, there's victory. Wow, I'm so excited. I cannot wait for everything that is coming to us. I wonder, how is this going to be translated into the stage? I want to know how the pieces of the stage will articulate this story. Thank you for watching, and until next time, remember to be excellent to one another.